This is Strictly Business, presented by the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce. Sponsored in part by the law offices of Young Wooldridge, San Joaquin Community Hospital. And now, here's your host, Cindy Pollard, President and CEO of the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce.
Welcome back. And just a quick update before we go into our next segment. Just heard from City Council member Russell Johnson that there are actually 50 local restaurants participating in that water conservation project. So if you would like to join, give us a call at the Chamber of Commerce or just stop by and pick up your supply of placards. A recent report published by Policy Analysis for California Education concludes that California's mentoring program for novice teachers, once a national model, has deteriorated due to lack of funding and district commitment, and provides little help for the many new teachers who enter the profession as permanent substitutes or temporary hires. But here to talk a little bit about the program called Beginning Teacher Support and Assessment System is Dr. Rob Arias, the superintendent of the Bakersfield City School District. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Thank you so much for joining us. So tell me a little bit about the Beginning Teacher Support and Assessment System and what it does for new teachers and how it's working here locally.
Great. Well, it's a mouthful, isn't it?
It is a
Yeah,
mouthful.
It is a mouthful. So we call it BITSA.
Okay,
short.
I'll call it BITSA. It's
BITSA,
easier.
Yeah. It's designed to support new teachers, and it's part of clearing their credential with the state of California.
Okay.
And it really is about professional development, professional learning. It's designed around the 6 major California teaching standards.
Okay.
And the program works in that they have a mentor, which they pair with. They meet with that mentor weekly for no less than an hour,
Okay.
perhaps more time. They follow this model of plan, teach, reflect, and apply, which is a continuous improvement model, and it's about the individual's learning. And they work through strengths and weaknesses, answer questions that they might have. The mentor might provide coaching, advice. They also provide professional learning and professional development opportunities for that teacher, depending on their strengths and areas that need improvement.
Okay.
So it's a model of continuous improvement, and it provides for an individual teacher to clear their credential with the state of California.
Okay. And who are the mentors? Are they from the same district, the same school, same level? How many
Well,
years of
in Bakersfield
experience?
City School District, they're from the same school district, so they're
Okay.
veteran teachers
Okay.
that are considered our most veteran and are excellent teachers in the
Okay.
school setting.
Okay.
And they provide training and support for those mentorees on a regular basis.
Okay. And it is currently being used here in the Bakersfield City School District. Do you know if it's being used in any other districts here locally?
Yeah, it's used across
Okay.
Kern County, actually.
Okay.
The majority of the school districts in Kern County, because they're smaller, they are serviced by the county's BITSA program. So about
Okay.
41 of the 48 school districts in the county are serviced by the county.
Okay.
But for Bakersfield City, because we're so large, we have about 1,450 teachers, approximately 30,000 plus students. We have our own BITSA program.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is operational and has been since 1998. We didn't have to deal with that issue of losing program, and we didn't
right.
take program away, although we had the flexibility to do so. We chose not to do that.
And how is it working? What are you seeing coming
Yeah.
out of that program?
It's working very well. We have
Okay.
about 148 BITSA teachers that are involved in the program. 91 are new teachers.
Wow.
The remaining are second-year teachers. If we didn't have a program like this, we would really struggle with providing the kind of professional learning that's individualized for a
Sure.
teacher.
Sure.
We provide all kinds of opportunities for teachers throughout our school district through our professional learning community model. But you really need to have specific classroom management, standards-based instruction, content knowledge on a regular basis.
Sure. What type of feedback are you hearing from teachers who are participating in the program or who have gone through the program?
I think if you'd have asked teachers that question from 98 to about 2004, you'd have a different response because the program continues to improve over time. It was very much paper-driven. It was getting this report and that report. And BITS has done a great job statewide of changing that and really just responding to the needs of the individual.
Okay.
None of the paperwork is it's no longer a barrier. The paperwork is actually completed with a mentor one-on-one, and it really is about that continuous improvement model, that plan, teach, reflect, and apply model. It's all about practice and less about documenting all these steps that we
Right,
take. So
right.
I think the feedback I'd received from teachers is it's a great model. It's not the answer to every solution that we have or problem that we have in schools, but it's certainly a really strong model.
And the fact that it's customized or tailored for each teacher means that it'll address the particular strengths or the weaknesses
Right.
that teacher has before they become, I guess, bad habits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Teaching's a difficult field. I think people forget that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about content. It's about classroom management, and then it's about building relationships as well.
Right.
And you think about the multiple diverse relationships that we have to create in order to be
Right.
effective teachers with parents, with students, with staff. It's a challenging job. So
Oh,
you have to
absolutely.
be very deliberate about your
Right.
practices that you support new teachers.
Is classroom observation a part of that program as well?
It is. It
Okay.
is. They have many opportunities throughout the year and over their 2 years in the program to witness other good teachers. So that's a great model. I mean, if you want to see good teaching, you want to be a good teacher, one of the best things to do is to see somebody do that on a daily basis. And that teaching, I think a lot of people think it comes naturally to people. In my career, I've seen a few naturals at that. But it's like a student learning. You have to
Right.
learn those steps, and some things you're better at than others. The key is just continuous improvement.
Okay. Now, mentoring is a key element for the system. Why is that so important?
Well, mentoring is really about making a connection with somebody on a regular basis, somebody you can go to that can guide you, support you, lead you to the right contact person, or find the right support materials, or answer a question, or just simply, can you just hear me out here? I'm going to bounce an idea. I want a thought partner regarding a lesson I'm preparing, or perhaps a challenging parent conversation that they're going to
Right.
have that afternoon, or how to deal with a student that you're just not making a connection to. You know, iron sharpens iron. We learn
Right.
through our interactions with other people that have been there before, that have had those experiences, and that's the power of mentorship. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are many people that have been there before.
Okay. You and I were talking a little bit before the program started about the process and which teachers actually go into it. And I think part of the criticism out of the report was that some of the permanent subs or the temporary hires didn't have access to this type of mentoring and training. But you were sharing with me that if those teachers do convert onto a permanent status or a regular status, that they do indeed participate in the program. Is
That's
that
correct. That's correct. In addition to that, in Bakersfield City School District, we're very deliberate about training our substitute teachers, our temporary teachers, and circling back, particularly as it relates to the new Common Core state standards. So we have a very deliberate practice about training all of our employees, and we don't want to leave anything to chance.
Right, right. What other resources do new teachers have available? I know you were telling me that they have a lot of resources at their disposal to help them become good teachers. What are some of those?
Yeah, we have quite a bit of resource. It's not like the old days. In the old days when I was going to school or when I was beginning my teaching, you entered a classroom, you closed the door, and that was the end of it. You're on your own. And sink or swim kind of a mentality. That's really not the case anymore. In many school districts across Kern County, across the state of California, they're a professional learning community environment where you're answering questions with other teachers in a very small group setting, at least weekly. The 4 questions, which is, what is it that we want our students to know? How are we going to know that they've learned it? What are we going to do if they haven't learned it? And what are we going to do for those kids that have learned? How are you going to extend or enrich
Sure,
learning?
sure.
We have that model in our school district.
Okay.
So there's no teacher in our school district that is not partnering with other professionals on a regular basis to talk about what's most important, which is
That's
student
great.
learning.
That's
And
great.
I think that's the greatest resource. I could spend a lot of time talking about other professional development that we provide, particularly because of local control funding formula, but those are available to all of our teachers. Technology, English language learner, all kinds of different content areas that are available to our teachers on a regular basis.
That's great. And you were saying that veteran teachers are also helping as a part of the process. In addition to being mentors, they're kind of reminded you were young once, or you were a new teacher once.
Right,
Is that
right? Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. I talked about that model of professional learning communities. It's important to create the conditions for those kind of conversations, collaborative conversations to take place. But I think it's really important for our veteran teachers just to remember, I've got a new teacher right next to me or down the
Right,
hall or in my
right.
department or at my grade level. It doesn't even really have to be connected to your grade level, but remember where you were and just making a connection with that individual, a word of encouragement, asking how they're doing, if there's anything that you can do to support them. But a word of encouragement is probably the most important thing that veteran teachers that aren't working specifically as a mentor can provide new teachers.
Well, it sounds like BITSA is working well here in the Bakersfield City School District and in Kern County at least.
Yes,
Okay.
I would agree with that. And
Okay.
I think that's evidenced by the fact that during the downtimes and difficult recession we went through, although we had the ability to take those funds for other purposes, we didn't do it because we
Which is
recognize
great.
our greatest investment really is a really high-skilled teacher.
And a highly skilled, good teacher produces good, highly skilled, smart students, which benefit us in the business community down the road.
Exactly,
So I really
exactly.
appreciate your coming
Oh,
here today.
I appreciate the
You-
opportunity.
You mentioned Common Core just a couple of minutes ago. That's a
Yeah.
completely different
It is.
subject, and we'll have you back
Okay.
to talk about that
That'd
a
be
little bit
great.
later
All
on.
right.
So appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you very much.
I'm Cindy Pollard with the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce. You're watching Strictly Business. We're going to take a quick break for a word from our sponsors. And when we come back, we'll be talking about the Migrant Services Program out at Cal State University, Bakersfield.